Firewatch is a narrative-based adventure game which was originally released in 2016 to generally very positive reviews. Also recognised as something of a walking simulator, Firewatch is set in the year 1989 where you take the role of Henry, starting his new job as a fire lookout in the Wyoming wilderness. I did play through the game at launch and I really enjoyed it, so I was very interested to try the forthcoming Two Forks VR mod for Firewatch by Raicuparta, the modder who also brought us the fantastic Nomai VR Outer Wilds mod, which I made a video on a few months ago. The Firewatch VR mod is currently in an early stage, so what I'm showing here is the 0.0.8 version of the game in VR, but it still shows incredible potential even at this early stage, so with that let's take a look.
Immersed robot.
So the Two Forks mod for Firewatch has been worked on for some time now alongside further work on the Outer Wilds mod, and if you support Raicuparta on the Patreon then you do get sort of regular updates on both of these games and how the mods are going on both. And like the Outer Wilds mod, this one also has full VR motion controller support with natural interaction being worked on all the time. But also the modder has stated that Firewatch is a more simple game in design, so they should be able to implement VR even better than they were able to in the Outer Wilds, which was already very impressive anyway, and anybody that's seen my video or played Outer Wilds in VR then you'll know that it's quite an impressive implementation of VR in that game. So when you first go into Firewatch you do find yourself in a forest-based location with sort of stylised cartoony hands, and the graphics in general make the transition to VR really well. The game looks great, but it's still not attempting to look anything like ultra realistic or anything like that. It's just a pleasant sort of semi-cartoony-esque environment with very nice lighting. Many things are still a work in progress at this stage with the mod, and some interactions can be a little bit frustrating, especially if you're playing with index controllers as I was initially. Most of the interactions with the main NPC in the game are based through walkie-talkie communication, and this is activated through the grip function on the motion controllers. And I did find this to be a little bit janky on the index controllers, and it took me quite a while to get it right, to be honest. This function does work better on the Quest 2 controllers, and I did also try this on my Quest 2 using Airlink, which worked fantastically well. It works so well on sort of native PC headsets, but also through Airlink. It's a great experience in both. When I first went in, I did set the graphics to medium settings and I managed to maintain 90 frames per second on my system. The specs of my PC are in the description to this video, but going up any higher than those medium settings, the frame rate became a little bit inconsistent. There were places where I could maintain 90 FPS still, but it was far less consistent than it was on medium. But I did also have a strange reprojection style blurring when turning my head in this game initially, even though I was maintaining those 90 frames per second. But then I went into the graphics options and I saw this setting for motion blur, which I then disabled, and that sorted out the problem perfectly. There was no issues then beyond that. So I've played around an hour of the game in VR now, and like Outer Wilds, it makes the transition to VR really well. It has room scale support, hand presence, and feet are now also rendered, which must be for some specific reason that I'm not aware of, but the developer has rendered these feet separately so you can see your feet during certain sections. I think it's through some of the cutscenes where it becomes relevant that you see your feet in some of the cutscenes perhaps. But these types of slow-paced, methodical, environmental exploration narrative games seem to work so well in VR. But not all the interactions are perfect at the moment, and I'm looking forward to trying the forthcoming versions of the mod, and I plan to play through the entire game when it's finally ready for its 1.0 release. The modder has also stated that some other interesting VR mechanics might be possible, such as climbing. So currently in the game, the climbing is sort of an automatic thing that's taken out of your control. It's almost like a mini cutscene where you see yourself climbing up these small sections, but hopefully using motion controllers to reach up and climb would be a great addition for this game and just give it that extra flavour, that extra feel of VR. So there isn't that much to complain about with the Two Forks mod at this time, even in this early stage, and Firewatch really is a fantastic narrative experience for those interested in that type of slower paced format. But taking in the scenery and exploring the various locations, while also having this slightly ominous mystery playing out in the background, is something I really recommend, especially in the more immersive VR format. So I'm going to make sure I keep following this mod and will report back as it gets significant updates. You can also get access to this early mod yourself if you're interested by supporting Raicuparta on Patreon, and I'll put a link in the description of this video for that Patreon if you want to give it a try even at this early stage. But that's pretty much it. I just wanted to very quickly go through this now, and again I'll report back as this mod gets further updates in the future. But thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Please consider supporting Immersed Robot on Patreon, or joining the Discord, or following me on Twitter, or better yet, all of the above. Links in the description below.